Hey guys, what's up? Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new brawler Nani coming to Brawl Stars, and particularly everything about her attack and how it really works, and how knowing that will actually let you get better at aiming with her and how to just push trophies easier with her when she does come out. So first let's talk about the dimensions of Nani's attack so we can better understand how it's going to hit people and when it's going to hit people and all that good stuff. So based on this footage that I took in the training cave, I determined that her max range is about 8 2/3 tiles. And this is actually shorter than what it looks like based on your aiming diagram that you get when you're dragging your shot and you have that little white circle at the end of the diamond. It actually doesn't go all the way to the end of that circle like you may think. It's just 8 2/3 tiles. It goes closer to just the middle of the circle, but doesn't actually deal any damage past that point. And I'll look into exactly what area it covers just a bit later on in the video. And then in terms of the width of the attack, how far the different sparks actually spread out, it changes depending on how long you're dragging your shot. So if you're using a shot at max range, then the max width of the sparks is going to be 4 1/3 tiles. That's from the very left spark all the way over to the very right spark. So that's the width of range that you can actually cover. And then I also measured another data point. So at a 4 tile range, the width is actually just about 1 1/2 tiles. So with these two data points, they actually form a line. So we can calculate the slope, which is approximately 8/13. So that means for every 1 tile further you drag your shot, the width of your attack is going to increase by 8/13 tiles. And that's a really weird fraction, but just know it's a bit more than a half, closer to 2/3. And for everyone out there who wants to know the full equation, essentially you can calculate the width for your attack just by multiplying the range of your attack by 8/13 and then just subtracting 1. So that does mean if you're dragging your attack right on top of you, your width is technically going to be -1. And this actually does make sense if you look at it in the game. At a certain point, when your aiming target is close enough to you, you can see the attack starts going backwards even though it's still aimed in front of you. So that's essentially what this negative width accounts for. But enough with that, I wanted to use these measurements so that way I could make a diagram of her shot and see just exactly where you're going to need to aim to get the best chance of hitting all your shots on one target. And one more measurement I did use for this was the fact that one of her single sparks is about a 1/4 tile wide. So then here is the scale diagram of Nani's attack that I made for max range. You can see that gray circle at the bottom labeled Nani, that is where you're shooting from, and then the red lines coming from that circle are where your attack is actually going to hit. And now the most interesting part is on the other side of the image where you can see that black dotted circle. And that's meant to represent the aiming circle, what you see when you're actually dragging your attack and trying to aim it. And then near that circle, I put a max white circle and a min white circle. And what those two circles represent are anyone you're trying to attack. So for example, all these robots you see me attacking in the training cave have a little red circle underneath them, which I translated onto the screen with that white circle. And that doesn't accurately represent their hitbox. Their hitbox is actually slightly smaller than that, but I did take that into consideration when making this diagram. So that min white circle is the place where one of these enemies would need to stand such that they are as close to you as possible, but still getting hit by all 3 shots. And then similarly, the max white circle is the farthest away someone could stand from you while still getting hit by all 3 sparks. So you can see you don't have to be entirely accurate to still get the full possible damage from Nani's shot. Actually, you have a lot more room for error when you're aiming behind your target than when you're aiming in front of them. But just exactly how much room do you have? To do this, I actually took the average of the max point and the min point, which essentially represent the range of places that an enemy can stand such that you'll still hit all your shots on them. And the average is just going to be the place smack right in the middle of that range, which means it's going to have the greatest margin of error. You can miss a bit forward or you can miss a bit backward and you're still going to hit all 3 shots. This is the thing that maximizes that room for error. So here is the new diagram with that average circle in place. And you can see that it's actually significantly in front of that black aiming circle that you would see when you're dragging to aim your attack. So what that means is if you aim just a bit behind your target, you're going to maximize your chances that no matter which direction they're moving to try to screw up your shot, you can still hit them for max damage. Now, if you want exact numbers for the maximum circle that you saw before, the aiming line was actually 3/5 tiles in front of that target. For the minimum circle, the aiming line was 1 2/5 tiles behind the target, and it still hit all of the shots. So that means the average of those two numbers comes out to 4/5 tiles behind the target. So whenever you're playing a game with Nani, you want to be attacking exactly 4/5 tiles behind your target, and that's going to maximize the chance that you're going to get full damage. Even in the training cave, after I started to attack all these enemies while I was moving, just aiming a bit behind them increased my hit rate significantly. Like, it was a dramatic change. I was actually not expecting how much easier it would get to hit all these opponents just by aiming a bit behind them. So keep that number in mind, 4/5 tiles behind the target, and just like that, you're going to be hitting so many more of your shots with Nani. Now do keep in mind that this only takes into account forward and backward movement. If your opponents are moving left to right, then it's going to screw up all of these calculations. So not only do you have to attack 4/5 tiles behind them, but you also have to attack either slightly to the left or slightly to the right of them, depending on which direction you're thinking they're going to move in. Now, if they're just moving straight away from you and you don't think they're going to move left to right at all, then you don't have to do that. But if they're moving almost perpendicular to the way in which you're going to be attacking them, then you do have to predict, are they going to move left or are they going to move right? And then you attack slightly to the right or slightly to the left of them accordingly, as well as 4/5 tiles behind that location. And that's going to give you the best shot at hitting your opponents with Nani. So it's definitely a lot to take in at first, but definitely go into the training cave and practice it. I'm sure you'll get the hang of it eventually. Obviously, you don't have moving targets there, but it'll definitely help give you a sense of what is going to hit your opponents and what is not. But that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I am going to make a video about Peep, Nani's super, and everything you need to know about that super in an upcoming video. So make sure to subscribe and hit notifications so that way you know when I post it and you don't miss out on those extremely helpful tips. But that's all for today, guys. So see you later.